He used to tell me everything, until one day, he stopped. He had someone else to confide in, someone who got his inside jokes, someone who knew his secrets. And it wasn't me. One afternoon, I walked past his office and heard him whisper, "You understand me in ways she never could." My stomach dropped. That night, I dressed up and waited for him to come home. When he finally looked at me, I smiled and asked, "Who do you run to when you need to feel loved?" He smirked, "You, of course." I leaned in and whispered, "Then why did she just call you hers?" His face drained of color, and that's when he knew he had been caught. I never imagined I'd be sharing my story here, but life has a way of throwing unexpected challenges our way. I'm a 42-year-old woman, married for 18 years to a man I believed was my best friend, my confidant, my everything. Let's call him Mark. We live in Chicago, a city that's been the backdrop to our shared history, from our college days to raising our 2 children. Mark and I met during our sophomore year at the University of Illinois. He was the charismatic guy who could light up any room, and I was the introverted bookworm who found solace in his warmth. Our connection was immediate, and we quickly became inseparable. After graduation, we both secured jobs in Chicago, Mark in finance and I in publishing. We married at 24, full of dreams and optimism for our future together. Our marriage had its ups and downs, as most do. We navigated career changes, the birth of our children, and the everyday challenges that come with building a life together. Through it all, I believed our bond was unbreakable. We shared everything, our hopes, fears, and the minutiae of daily life. Or so I thought. Over the past year, I began to notice subtle changes in Mark's behavior. He became more distant, often lost in thought or glued to his phone. Our conversations, once filled with laughter and shared anecdotes, became superficial and strained. He started working late more frequently, and when he was home, he seemed preoccupied, his mind elsewhere. I attributed his behavior to stress. Mark's job in finance was demanding, and I knew the pressures he faced were immense. I tried to be understanding, giving him space and shouldering more responsibilities at home to alleviate his burden. But the distance between us continued to grow, and an unshakable feeling of unease settled in my gut. One afternoon, while tidying up the house, I walked past Mark's home office. The door was slightly ajar, and I heard his voice, soft and intimate. Curiosity got the better of me, and I paused to listen. "You understand me in ways she never could," he whispered. My heart stopped. A wave of nausea washed over me as I tried to process his words. Who was he talking to? Who was this person who understood him better than I did? I stood frozen, a million thoughts racing through my mind. Was I misinterpreting the situation? Could there be an innocent explanation? But deep down, I knew the truth. The man I had built my life with was confiding in someone else, sharing parts of himself that were once reserved for me. That evening, I decided to confront him. I dressed up, hoping to remind him of the woman he married, the life we built together. When he finally came home, I greeted him with a smile that masked the turmoil inside me. "Who do you run to when you need to feel loved?" I asked, my voice steady despite the storm raging within. He smirked, a flicker of the man I once knew. "You, of course." I stepped closer, looking him straight in the eyes. "Then why did she just call you hers?" His face drained of color. The smirk vanished, replaced by a look of sheer panic. That's when he knew he had been caught. The confrontation led to a night of revelations. Mark admitted to having an emotional affair with a colleague named Sarah. It started innocently, he claimed. Shared lunches, conversations about work stress, but evolved into something deeper. They hadn't been physically intimate, he insisted, but the emotional betrayal cut just as deep. I was devastated. The man who once shared everything with me had found solace in someone else. Our marriage, built on trust and mutual respect, now felt like a house of cards collapsing around me. In the days that followed, I oscillated between anger, sadness, and a desperate need to understand why. Mark expressed remorse, pleaded for forgiveness, and suggested counseling. I wasn't sure if I had the strength to rebuild what was broken. I turned to Reddit, seeking solace in the stories of others who had faced similar betrayals. Reading through our /cheating_stories, I found a mix of heartbreak and resilience. One story stood out, a woman who discovered her husband's infidelity and decided to take control of her narrative. She focused on self-care, sought therapy, and eventually found happiness, with or without her partner. Inspired, I decided to embark on my own journey of healing. I started therapy, not just for the marriage, but for myself. I needed to rediscover who I was outside of being Mark's wife. I reconnected with friends, picked up hobbies I'd neglected, and began to rebuild my self-esteem. Mark and I attended couples counseling, delving into the issues that led us to this point. It wasn't easy. Trust, once shattered, isn't easily restored. There were days I wanted to walk away, to start anew without the weight of betrayal on my shoulders. But then there were moments of clarity, glimpses of the man I fell in love with, and the realization that our story wasn't just about this betrayal. It was about years of love, partnership, and shared experiences. After months of therapy and soul-searching, we decided to give our marriage another chance. It wasn't about forgetting the past, but learning from it. We established new boundaries, improved our communication, and committed to being more present in each other's lives. Forgiveness didn't come overnight. There are still days when doubt creeps in, when the memory of that afternoon threatens to overshadow our progress. But we're working through it, one day at a time. After that night, things between Mark and me were strange. Not angry, not peaceful, just quiet. He was walking on eggshells, and I was stuck in my own head, replaying everything he'd ever said to me. Every "I love you" now felt like a lie. Every late night, every skipped dinner, every "I'm just tired," all of it twisted into something darker. We started therapy. At first, it helped a little. Talking to someone made the fog lift just enough for me to breathe again. But even with the counselor, Mark kept a mask on. He said the right things, cried in the right moments, but something felt off. I knew this man. I knew him. And he was still hiding something. About a month later, things took a turn. I was doing laundry, nothing exciting, just our usual Sunday routine. As I was emptying the pockets of his dress pants, I found a receipt. It was from a little wine bar in Lincoln Park. A place I'd never been, but I knew about it. Romantic. Dim lighting. They even had a live jazz trio on weekends. The receipt was for 2 glasses of Malbec and a dessert. Dated 3 days ago. A Thursday. He had told me he was working late on a client report. My stomach twisted. I didn't confront him right away. I just sat with it, letting the feeling settle in my bones. It wasn't over. Whatever he had with Sarah or whoever else wasn't done. I needed to know more. So I did what I swore I'd never do. I went through his phone while he was in the shower. Heart racing, hands shaking, I found exactly what I feared. There were no texts. Nothing in his inbox. But in his photo app, hidden away in a deleted folder, was a selfie. Of him. And her. Not Sarah. Someone else. She looked young. Late 20s maybe. Brown hair, sharp eyes. She was sitting close to him, her arm looped around his, and he was smiling. Not his forced photo smile. His real smile. The one I hadn't seen in a year. I felt sick. It wasn't just Sarah. There was someone else. And now I didn't know how many more there might be. When I confronted him, I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just showed him the photo. His face went blank. Then pale. Then red. "It's not what it looks like," he said, almost immediately. "It never is it?" He looked away. "Her name's Zoe. She's a client." I laughed. A short, bitter laugh that didn't even sound like me. "Clients get to wrap their arms around you now?" He didn't answer. That night, he didn't sleep in our bed. I didn't ask him to leave. He just didn't come up. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, listening to the faint sounds of the TV downstairs and wondering how long he'd been gone from me. How long he'd been giving pieces of himself to other women while I was here, raising our kids, keeping the house running, holding everything together. And then something happened that pushed it all over the edge. I got a message. On Facebook. From Sarah. Yeah. Her. It started polite. Apologetic even. She said she didn't know I existed at first. Claimed Mark had said he was separated, that we were working on things, but not living together. That she ended things when she found out the truth, and that I deserved to know everything. Then came the screenshots. Long messages. Ones filled with emotion. Pet names. Talk of our future. Him venting about how I didn't understand him anymore. How I was always tired, too busy with the kids, and how she made him feel alive again. I was numb. Just staring at my screen, trying to take it in. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the photo she attached at the end. A picture of Mark. In bed. Shirtless. Her next to him, clearly taken without him noticing. It was recent. Same haircut. Same wristwatch I bought him last Christmas. I don't even remember dropping my phone. I just remember the sound of it hitting the hardwood floor and the feeling of my heart dropping with it. That night, I didn't say a word to him. I didn't even look at him. I slept in the guest room and locked the door. In therapy the next day, I told the counselor everything. Mark tried to explain it away again. Said it was a mistake, that he didn't love her, that he was confused. The therapist asked him if he wanted this marriage. He didn't answer. Silence. For a full minute. I broke it. You know what hurts the most? I said, looking straight at him. It's not that you cheated. It's that you left me long before you touched her. And you never told me you were gone. We haven't been to therapy since. I'm still in our house. I haven't made any big decisions yet. The kids don't know, though I think our oldest suspects something. I'm just trying to keep the pieces from scattering too far while I figure out what to do next. But now, there's another twist. And I don't know what to make of it yet. 2 days ago, I got a call from a blocked number. I don't usually answer those, but something told me to pick up. It was another woman. She asked me if I was Mark's wife. I said yes. Then she asked if I knew about the baby. I almost dropped the phone. That's where I am now. Trying to get answers. Trying to breathe. Trying to decide how much more I can take before I finally walk away for good. The woman on the phone, her voice shook. She sounded young. Maybe mid-30s. Said her name was Natalie. I didn't know he was married, she started. Same line I'd already heard from Sarah. My throat felt tight just hearing it again. I didn't say anything. I just waited. I met him last summer. We were both at a conference in Denver, she continued. I was going through a divorce. He said he was too. I wanted to scream. He was using our pain as his introduction to these women? I wouldn't be calling you, she said, but I'm pregnant. 11 weeks. And when I told him, he told me not to contact him again. I couldn't speak. My lips parted, but nothing came out. She filled the silence. He changed his number. Blocked me on everything. I didn't know what else to do. Then I found your Facebook. I asked for proof. Anything. I was shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. She sent screenshots of their texts. Photos. Even a selfie of the two of them in a hotel room with the Denver skyline behind them. It was him. No denying it. He had a whole lives outside of our marriage. Women he comforted. Lied to. Slept with. Abandoned. This wasn't just a one-time emotional affair. It wasn't even just Sarah or Zoe or Natalie. It was a pattern. A double or triple life. And the more I dug, the more I uncovered. There was a credit card I didn't know about. He used it for hotel stays, dinners, flights. I found the statements hidden in a folder on his computer, disguised under a generic file name. 2022 financials, XLS. There were dozens of transactions. Overlapping weekends. Some charged in Chicago. Some in other cities, New York, Seattle, Austin. I made a list. Dates. Locations. Then I cross-checked it with his work calendar. With my texts to him. On days he said he was sick, he was flying to Seattle. On our anniversary, when he claimed he had a last-minute investor dinner, he was checking into a boutique hotel in Austin. He wasn't just cheating. He was living different versions of himself depending on who he was with. I didn't know this man. The person I'd shared a bed with for nearly 2 decades, he was a stranger. I confronted him again. No therapist. No quiet smiles. Just me. Him. My list. My shaking hands. I laid everything out on the table. Dates. Charges. The photo from Denver. The baby. His face was blank. But not in shock. He was tired. Not regretful. Not scared. Just tired. Then he said it. I can't do this anymore. What does that mean? I asked. I don't want to pretend. I haven't been in this marriage for years. My heart cracked in a way it hadn't even when I found the first photo. This wasn't just betrayal, it was abandonment. Quiet, drawn-out abandonment that had been happening while I kept trying to fix what I thought was broken. He moved out 2 days later. Said he needed space. Took just a few things. Left his wedding ring in the kitchen drawer. And then, like a coward, he disappeared. But the storm wasn't over. A week after he left, a woman showed up at my door. Older than the others. Maybe late 40s. Blonde. Wore a long black coat and had a no-nonsense look in her eyes. I'm looking for Mark, she said. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. She sighed. I'm his boss. That threw me. His boss? He used to work under me in Boston before transferring here. We had a relationship. It ended when he moved, but he told me he was single, no kids. I couldn't help it, I laughed. A dry, bitter laugh that hurt my throat. She nodded slowly, as if my reaction confirmed what she'd already guessed. I just found out he used my name to open a line of credit. He used my information. I'm here to file a report. Mark had gone from cheating husband to identity thief. I stood there, stunned, trying to remember if I'd ever seen him show guilt. Real guilt. Nothing came to mind. Now the pieces were falling into place. The missing money. The debt I hadn't signed up for. The hidden card. The sudden client dinners and work trips. He wasn't just leading a double life. He was conning everyone. Me. The women. His boss. He was living off lies, spinning new ones before the old ones unraveled. And the worst part? He was good at it. Too good. I don't know how far this goes. I've started tracking down others. There may be more women. More lies. Maybe even more children. Right now, I'm holding it all together for my kids. I haven't told them everything. Just that Daddy is away for a while. I don't know what they'll think of him when they find out the truth. Because the truth isn't just that he cheated. It's that he lied so well. I believed him even when my gut said not to. He smiled through it. Slept beside me through it. Played with our children, took family photos, planned vacations, while living other lives behind my back. It all came to a head 2 weeks later. The school had called me that morning. Our youngest had a fever and needed to be picked up. I left work early, rushed over, and ended up spending most of the afternoon taking care of her. Mark still hadn't contacted me since he left. No check-ins with the kids. No questions about the house. No sign of the man who used to call just to ask if I ate lunch. But then, out of nowhere, I got a text from an unknown number. You should come to Fulton and Park. Now. You deserve to see this for yourself. No name, just the address of a wine bar. The same one from that old receipt. Against every ounce of reason in my body, I went. Fulton and Park was crowded that evening. Warm lights. Soft jazz. The air smelled of expensive perfume and overpriced appetizers. And there he was. Mark. Sitting at a corner table, smiling like the world hadn't just collapsed around him. Sitting across from Zoe. Not Sarah. Not Natalie. Zoe. Laughing, holding her hand, leaning in close. Like this was their little hidden world. And it was for a while. Until I walked in. Until I stood just inside the doorway, staring straight at him. He looked up and froze. The color drained from his face. Zoe followed his gaze, turned around, and blinked like she wasn't sure if I was real. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I walked straight to their table, heart pounding, and said loud enough for the room to quiet. Hi, Zoe. I'm Mark's wife. You know? The one he forgot to mention while he's been building a second life with you. Gasps. Whispers. Glasses clinking down too hard. Zoe's face went pale. Mark stood up. Let's go outside, he said, reaching for my arm. I stepped back. No, we're doing this here. He looked around, aware of the eyes on us. Please, not like this. Like what, Mark? My voice cracked. Like finding out you've been living like a damn parasite? Lying to every woman you meet? Fathering a child and then vanishing? Zoe's mouth dropped. What? And just like that, he was exposed. Not by me. By his own silence. The truth hung in the air, and there was no way for him to lie fast enough to catch it. Zoe grabbed her purse and stormed out without another word. The bar fell silent for a beat before people started whispering again. I didn't care. I walked out too. He followed me into the street. You don't understand. No, you don't understand. I cut him off. You've broken everything. Everything we had. Everything I held together. For what? Ego? Attention? Sex? He looked lost. Not defensive. Not apologetic. Just hollow. I needed to feel needed, he muttered. And you couldn't feel that with the woman who stayed by your side through every job loss, every illness, every lie? I was crying now, angry tears that burned down my cheeks. Do you love any of them? I asked. He looked away. That was all the answer I needed. I left him standing there under the flickering street lamp. The fallout came fast. Sarah forwarded more screenshots. Natalie texted to say she'd spoken to Zoe, who was planning to press charges for fraud. Mark's boss, the one who came to my house, had already filed a complaint. HR at his company launched an internal investigation. And the kids? They knew something was wrong. Our oldest, Lily, found me crying one night and just sat next to me, quiet. Then she whispered, "Is Dad not coming back?" I didn't lie. No, sweetheart. He's not. She didn't cry. She nodded. Just nodded. I moved forward. Filed for divorce. Opened a separate bank account. Talked to a lawyer. I stayed in the house with the kids, surrounded by broken pieces of a life I once believed in. The shock slowly turned into anger. Then clarity. Then, surprisingly, relief. No more guessing. No more waiting up. No more half smiles and full eyes. Our friends had mixed reactions. Some were shocked. Some weren't. A few quietly admitted they'd always felt something was off with Mark.